me on, straight up hustling till the break of dawn. Taught me how to do wrong right, everything is tight. But somehow things started to change.
Folks,
Try to get a straight
Happy
up
New
out
Year.
of the game.
Happy New Year, everybody. We're back at the Teebs and KidPhoenix versus podcast, coming into 2025 now.
Never seem to get
And we're just gonna continue.
Didn't think we were gonna make it.
Didn't think we were gonna get here. Did not think we were gonna get here, but things have not exploded. Things have not spontaneously combusted that we know of. We're back. It's the part 2 of the celebration of film in 1999, which is obviously, mathematically speaking, kind of stupid because now these movies are 26 years old, not 25 years old, but whatever, semantics.
Semantics, bro.
Teebs is here, I am here, Vince is back with us again for the second half of this. Hope everybody's New Year's went well and there was no real hangovers. I myself didn't do anything because I'm at the point now where I'm just like, it's New Year's Eve, whatever, it's too many people. Going to bed. I'm going to bed at my normal time, 10:30. Like, what am I? I'm not doing anything special.
I would have gone to bed. There was an impromptu fireworks display. Kibosh on that for a while. That other voice you hear is a good friend of the podcast, Vince Alvendia, who's back with us, helping us to round out the top 10 films of 1999.
We have reached the final 9, and it's gonna be good shit. We're kicking this off right out of the jump. Office Space, a movie that 99.9% of working class America can relate to, is a Mike Judge production, and there's just so much about this movie that is amazing. Vince, automatically, I think of you anytime I watch this movie because Mike in the car driving to work, listening to hip-hop, blasting hip-hop on the highway, specifically Tupac, that is something that you do in your actual working life. So, Vince, I kind of want to let you have the floor first real quick.
Yeah, this movie, when it came out, it was unexpected. I went to see it strictly off of Mike Judge's name brand. I was like, hey, it's the Beavis and Butthead guy. How bad can it be? And from the moment the hypnotherapist had a heart attack, all in, just fully all in. I just thought it was a brilliant and such a relatable story. And no matter what part of corporate or commercial America you work in, every joke landed and hit home, and to me was hilarious. Yeah, I mean, it introduced me to some Ghetto Boys tracks I forgot about.
We've all had those jobs where we're just like, God damn it, I have to report to how many bosses and the cubicle lifestyle of the whole thing, and you thinking that your boss is a complete idiot that has no idea what the fuck he's doing. Like, we all live that at some point. And if you're a youngster listening to the podcast, get ready, because you're going to get there at some point, and you're going to turn on this movie, and your grandfather is going to turn on this movie, and you're going to be able to 100% completely relate to everything that happens in this film.
Quick diversion, like, do you guys realize that Office Space is one of 2 movies done by Mike Judge that did literally nothing when they were in theaters?
Yeah.
But have gone on to become huge cultural touchstones?
This movie
Office Space and Idiocracy.
Office Space is one of those movies where it's just like you had every version of it. You saw it in the theater. You probably own the DVD. You probably rebought the DVD at various points. You probably have it on some streaming service. Like, this movie is still like everywhere. Comes on cable every once in a while. But why would you watch it on cable? Because they take out all the cool stuff.
Well, it lets us laugh at our own painful realities.
Yeah.
I mean, who knew Idiocracy? It's like, holy shit, he did predict the future. I mean, I am one of the disappointed masses that believed in the Star Trek future. You know, I thought we'd be above a lot of the shit that we're going through right now, but yet here we are. And movies like this and Idiocracy and even Beavis and Butthead, the movie,
Yeah.
let us take a break and laugh at what is true to us for a little bit.
See, Vince is talking about the dream and hope of Star Trek. Like, I already know that we're not getting the glorious Federation style TNG Star Trek future. I know, and
You
I'm
go to
already
hell.
prepared.
You go to hell.
I'm
We're gonna
prepared.
get there. I don't
I'm
care if I have
prepared
to
for
drag them
Discovery
there my
style.
damn self.
I am prepared for a Star Trek Discovery style dystopian future. That's what I'm ready for.
Okay, I'm not taking your Discovery bait right now. It's not happening.
When you saw Office Space, you're older than me, so you were in the workforce a little bit more than I was. Were there some takeaways that you had that maybe I didn't? Because again, you were in the workforce for a full like 5 years more than I was.
I did have a takeaway. I felt like I needed to wear more pieces of flair. Didn't have enough. I had like 3. But also just the idea that, this whole thing that kind of there was other people out there experiencing the same, like, I don't know, just kind of sucky experience of work. One of the things I've heard about this movie is, or this period of time is, in the late 90s, it was pretty dope. We had crushed communism. The
Allegedly.
economy was on the rise.
Also
When
allegedly.
there were no wars, so what did we really have to fight over? Our own boredom. That was our struggle in the late 90s.
That is an accurate statement. Of all the things that I guess that's why I gave again one of the rare perfect 10s that I've given. I gave this movie a perfect 10 for story because it's easy to understand, it's easy to relate to. My job sucks, and I hate going in to work every day. That's easy.
Who does not fantasize about going to work and not giving a shit and getting rewarded for it?
And getting rewarded for it and getting away with it. Not
Yes.
only getting rewarded, but being rewarded and getting away with the damn thing.
That's the key. I think the key is not, going to work and shooting up the place or killing a bunch of people. Just being able to go to work and like not give a shit about any of it. Like, that's the dream.
Yes. If there's one point that movie hammered home, is that adulting fucking sucks.
Adulting fucking
It's not great.
blows. It's not fun. It's not fun at all. All right. Wow, that just got down really fast. So let's move on. Coming in at number 8 on our list, we have The Mummy. I honestly thought this was going to be one of those ones that scored a little low because, Teebs. This is not the
I
kind.
like fun.
Do you?
I like fun. The hell?
This is just not the kind of movie that I thought would get high marks from Teebs. I'm sorry. And I'm glad that he took the same cues that I did and gave high marks in both production design and costumes and makeup. The cultural impact, the only real cultural impact that I took away was the fact that, they're trying to make Brendan Fraser the action star thing, and it kind of works.
Yeah, I feel like they missed the boat on that one. I don't think they took it full advantage like they should have.
Again, Brendan Fraser's a weird choice. He's not a bad choice. It's just like, you don't initially see it, but like he's charming, and like the rest of the cast makes everything work. And
I'm just gonna say the same things were said about Bruce Willis in a little movie called Die Hard, and that shit fucking worked. So sometimes you gotta take those swings, you gotta take those chances, and in this particular case, Universal and Steven Sommers, they got it right.
This movie's just fun, man. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's just freaking fun. And
Vince, like, watching this movie, it goes quick. Like, it's a 2-hour movie, but it doesn't feel like 2 hours.
It does not. It's a really wonderfully paced action film, and I scored it the way I did because I fully recognized that it was filling a void, the void that Indiana Jones left for me for a while.
Yeah.
Like
I didn't even think about that aspect.
But and it gave me that vibe. It totally gave me the Indiana Jones vibe. You know, it did kind of feel like it picked up where that franchise left off for a while. I was fully and Brendan Fraser, like I thought he was excellent. I thought he was great. He was a great choice. He had the charisma, the look, and everything. And I feel like Hollywood kind of missed its chance to capitalize on that. I honestly think he could have been the next, action guy to carry these kind of films.
I think so too, but like after this, like Brendan Fraser's career kind of took like a weird turn.
He
Like
made some weird choices. Yeah,
He did.
The Mummy Returns was really good, although that was just like a platform to build up The Rock as an action star.
mm-hmm.
And I kind of feel, and you can disagree with me, like I kind of feel like Brendan got pushed away to the side a little bit after the second one because they said, "Oh, we have Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Let's do the Scorpion King, and then let's just build off of that even more." The last Mummy movie with Jet Li, that didn't hit nearly as well as it should have. That's because I just think people forgot how decent Brendan Fraser was as an action star in this first movie.
I absolutely agree.
I see your point with the Indiana Jones angle because like after Last Crusade, like there was nothing. There was nothing there for that. And I get it. Harrison Ford you got to take a break. And again, I do agree with you. Like Brendan Fraser made some weird choices after that. There was the movie he did with Elizabeth Hurley. That
oh yeah, the remake, the Devil Bedazzled or something like that.
Bedazzled, I think it was. And then now he just had that one movie where he's like in the fat suit, and it's just like it just not work for me. Missed opportunity on all sides for the Brendan Fraser camp. And this is actually gonna sound like really, really disheartening because my partner is a huge advocate of Brendan Fraser as an action star. They absolutely fucking love The Mummy. I give it its props. We are definitely giving it its props, but just missed opportunities all around. And I kind of hope they're doing a reimagining of this film, but with the creator of the Evil Dead remake series. So this could turn into like a different kind of horror franchise doing it this way.
Maybe.
Teebs is not convinced.
I'm not convinced.
Okay, are we ready to have this discussion now? Because we're gonna have it.
Okay.
This movie got 76 out of 80 points from our man Vince. It is South Park, bigger, longer, and uncut. Vince, I feel like I need to let you have the floor for a couple minutes.
This movie turned everything in Hollywood on its head. From what an animated movie should be, from what a satirical comedy should be. We all know which song they really wanted to nominate for best song, but they settled with Kyle's Mom is a Bitch, which is also an epic song. But we know Uncle Fucker should have been the nominee for best.
That should 100%. That should have not just nominated. That should have won the damn.
That should have won. But from how culturally aware it was and how self-aware it was, as far as a parody of just popular culture and social commentary in general, it's Carlin level.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's that, and it's Saddam in bed with the devil, and the devil being a sympathetic character, and then you have the French, the French sleeper agent who curses Jesus and is God, and like I love everything about this movie because when I first saw it, from the moment they started cursing, my jaw dropped. Even though I knew it was going to happen, it never left the floor until the end of the movie. Yeah, and they played to every strength. And this is what's great about Matt Stone and
Trey Parker.
Trey Parker. This was to me the perfect textbook way on how you play up all of your character strengths. You don't try to derail them or give them some kind of extra. Just play up to their strengths, and you're gonna have a fun movie. Yeah, exactly. Let him cook.
I will say this about the entirety of the South Park universe. I agree wholeheartedly with what Vince said as far as like turning Hollywood on its head. And this is why. It just showed that these kinds of mature shows, they work, they have a fan base, people can appreciate this kind of animated comedy. You have The Simpsons, and then you have South Park, which I guess was Comedy Central's answer to it. But now, when you look at shows like Family Guy, when you look at shows like American Dad, when you look at shows like Futurama and Solar Opposites or anything like that, all of those shows got their cues and did their thing. Rick and Morty, even too. They got their cues because Trey Parker and Matt Stone showed that people want this kind of animation. They want this kind of comedy in their cartoons. And I think that by itself, that's culturally important because it pushes the genre of what animators and companies were willing to put out. Teebs is not convinced.
Leave it to you two Philistines to push forward the fart joke movie.
Don't act like you weren't laughing your ass off in the movie theater.
No, it's good. It's a great movie.
And what do you have against the Philippines?
I said Philistines. I love the Philippines. They're fine, fine people.
Sure, pal. I'm offended.
The Teebs and KidPhoenix podcast emphatically supports the Philippines and all people of the Philippines.
Fuck yeah, you do. Look, the comedy. Look. The comedy that they pulled off in this, you could not do in any other kind of. Yeah, in any other kind of medium.
True.
It wouldn't read.
True.
It wouldn't read the same.
And despite the quote unquote woke agenda that we all hear like all the time,
Mm-hmm.
Trey Parker, Matt Stone, they're still cooking with South Park seasons. The show still hits.
Mm-hmm. But go ahead, Atiba. I'm sorry.
I don't know what else we need to say.
I think you guys covered it all. There's not much more for me to say except for my Philistines joke. And
yeah, it's great. I feel like it's part of the subversion is because the right that we all love so much laughs at this shit for the wrong reasons. Like they literally don't get it, which makes it kind of funnier for those of us that do. So,
all right, still we're all sports fans on this podcast, right? We're all we all follow sports.
Oh my God, who let the jock in the room?
I'll tell you who let the jock in the room. Oliver Stone did. God damn it! He just kicked the door in. And he brought Al Pacino, Dennis Quaid, Jamie Foxx, James Woods, LL Cool J, and Cameron Diaz. They all came in the room because now we're talking about Any Given Sunday. 1,000% the best football movie ever.
Okay. So,
as much as highly as I rate Varsity Blues, Any Given Sunday is my favorite football movie.
Now, listen, don't get me wrong. I love this movie. It's a fucking mess. And there's no way I would like it if it wasn't about, if it didn't paint this particular portrait of football, which is something that I love. It's fantastic. It's I think it's probably as close as I'll ever get to like the life of an actual football player.
100%.
And that's why you got to give it its flowers. It's because it's disjointed. Some parts don't make sense. Some things seem to happen out of nowhere. I feel like that's what my life would be like if I was in the NFL.
Yeah. And, or whatever fictional football league this movie is portraying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vince, you're somewhat of a football fan. I know nothing of your football allegiances, but when you look at a movie like Any Given Sunday, and you see, at that time, we're still in the era of, like, we don't give a shit about player safety. We want to see, like, the crushing hits, see, like, the seediness of being a professional athlete. How did that hit for you, similar to how it seemed to hit for Teebs?
I agree with the movie is a little bit of a mess.
It's more than a little bit, I'll admit that.
Yeah, my scores don't reflect how much I love this movie, though. I was kind of like thinking of scoring it strictly on a scholarly level, I guess. But see, I don't even think it's a fair comparison because it's two different worlds. But to me, I slightly like the program better, as far as like how the athletes are and that kind of that life. You know what I mean? And this was very much a caricature of that kind of athletic celebrity status and how it goes. And to me, this movie relies a lot on the star power that it brings in. You
I
know,
would agree.
I would venture to say it's not even that well acted. You know,
Really?
Pacino to me Pacino is kind of playing the same character he played in Heat. It's almost football Heat for me. But
That's an interesting.
I find Demons. It sounds stupid, but I find Beeman's arc entertaining, and Cameron Diaz's arc I don't think was explored enough as an owner. I feel like that story that could have been more compelling, her side of it. But I get that the focus was kind of on Pacino. You know, he was kind of like that guy during that time.
When you have Pacino, you're kind of forced to make him like the not to say it negatively, but he's kind of got to be the black hole. He's got to be the figure that everybody rotates around.
Yeah, but I will say that was it Dennis Quaid?
Dennis Quaid.
That's kind of the classic, you know, Joe Montana on his way out and making room for the flash and dash. He was another one where I was like, I kind of wanted more of his character.
Yeah.
And then his dynamic, you know.
I think this would probably be better as a Netflix series, honestly, at this point.
Yes.
It's just too
dense.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. But that being said, I love the movie. It is.
The movie's great.
I wouldn't say it's my favorite film, but it's in like my top 3 favorite sports movies.
Listen, it's no Little Giants, but it's still pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's no Waterboy, but it's alright.
I want to touch back one thing what you said about caricatures, and I think that's an interesting concept. Like, they took the seedy elements of being a professional football player and literally turned the knob up to like 20.
Yeah.
Like, all right, maybe it's not exactly this bad, but fuck it, we're gonna play it up anyway.
There's an alligator in the freaking locker room.
I thought that was an interesting choice by Oliver Stone. The party scene that ends with Lawrence Taylor chainsawing Willie Beeman's Humvee in the parking lot. That seemed like a bit much. And the football game at the end where guy's eyeball literally just gets plucked out of its socket seems like a little too much. I don't know if that necessarily happens on an NFL field.
But then, you know what?
I would also
this is. You can say it's like really super like out of like you can say it's like way out of this world, but we had Deion Sanders legit release a rap song.
True.
Yeah,
and he wasn't the only one.
I'm just saying. I want that. I want that kind of NFL on my television. Somebody's eye socket gets pulled out. Somebody's eye gets pulled out of the socket. No flag for illegal for hands to the face. No flag on the flag.
I mean, we had the Theismann leg break. We had the dude's heart stop on the field, which was like terrifying. Holy crap! So
that was nuts. All right, you're right. Yeah, we don't need that. All right, gentlemen, we've reached the top 5. We've reached the top 5 of our score.
Here we go.
Number 5, Ed Norton, Brad Pitt, Helena Bonham Carter, Fight Club.
This is only number 5?
This is only number 5. This is number 5. So you can only imagine what some of the heavy hitters are going to be the rest of the way.
All right, so Fight Club. Can we talk about this without spoiling it? Edward Norton is a guy, and he fights other guys.
Right,
actually, I can't really. I can't really talk about this.
You've broken every rule already.
I know. I can't about this movie.
I was gonna say, pause. This movie was made in 1999. If you've never seen it, then that's your problem. We're spoiling everything. But yes, I see what Teebs did there. We are all going to break the first and second rules of Fight Club because we're going to talk about Fight Club. This was an interesting movie.
Just what can I say about Fight Club? Didn't get it initially. got it on a surface level later. Now I think I really get it. And it's not a lot of works of art that you can really appreciate at 3 different levels and at 3 different points in your life. So that's incredible. Peak Brad.
I don't think it's peak.
like the beginning of peak Brad Pitt. Beginning of peak Brad Pitt.
Is it peak Ed Norton, or is it American History
For
X?
me, 25th Hour is peak Ed Norton, but 25th Hour Rounders is peak Ed Norton for me.
That's fair. That's fair.
But this is definitely up there.
I think for me, like, why I enjoyed this movie so much, like, 2 things. One, the acting between Ed Norton and Brad Pitt. Peak Meatloaf. Now, I'm sure there's an album in the 1970s that's Peak Meatloaf. The 2 things that stood out to me in this movie was just like the interaction between Ed Norton and Brad Pitt, and then just like the cinematography and just like how dark it was, and just like seeing how they made that work.
Yeah, it's a shame we didn't have a category for editing, because this one would have gotten a 10
Oh my God.
me.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Absolutely.
Vince, any additional thoughts about Fight Club?
Let me tell you, if there's one thing I love, it's an unhinged Brad Pitt. Like I got a taste of it in 12 Monkeys, and I got a whole movie's worth in Fight Club. Like, I love it when the man plays crazy.
Like the whole beginning of his career. Hang on.
Even more in Inglourious Basterds.
Hold it.
Yeah.
The whole beginning of his career, he's playing these unhinged nuts. Because you got 12 Monkeys, you've got California, which is a movie that nobody talks about.
About California. Yeah, you're right.
Jesus.
You are right.
He's kind of nuts in Thelma and Louise. He tries to steal all their money.
Is the only movie that he's like mildly subdued in until like 99 is like True Romance, where he's Floyd. That's the only like subdued Brad Pitt role.
No.
Meet Joe Black, yeah.
That's true. But yeah, he's like, that, and the only movie where he's not playing a manic killer is Interview with a Vampire.
Oh my God.
Which is ironic as hell.
I was hoping that would be brought up.
Of course.
Here we are.
Listen, Nosferatu came out on Christmas Day, so we had to do some Dracula talk.
Yeah, just phenomenal movie. The twist is great. The performances are great. This movie just has a sheen of coolness to it.
I also love how they adapted the screenplay from the book.
Mm-hmm.
I read the book after watching the movie, and I was just like, wow, there was like some shit that could totally been slipped in. And it was interesting to realize what was put in and what was left out.
Who directed this?
David Fincher.
That's right, because I was gonna say he almost did Guy Ritchie the way Guy Ritchie wishes he did Guy Ritchie.
Exactly. This movie convinced me that you could fire Brad Pitt out of a cannon into a thrift store and he'd come out in a phenomenal outfit. Yes. It would just look phenomenal.
Absolutely right.
It would just be like, oh my God, well, okay, we can't find a bad outfit for this guy.
No.
He's got on track pants and a tuxedo suit, and it works. I don't understand it.
It hurts.
Oh my God. Oh man. Shout out to the costume designers for this movie, then. Jesus.
Costume designers, like, we spend the budget, dog. I don't know what to tell you. Here's a $5 Walmart gift card, make it work.
No man, that gift card was Salvation Army. Are you kidding me? Number 4, 6 cents.
Oof.
M. Night's first movie?
Second movie. His first movie is a movie about a little boy that goes to Catholic school with Rosie O'Donnell in it called Hope Floats. No, it's not Hope Floats. It's. Hold on, I'll find it. I should remember because I was working at the movie theater when he premiered it.
Yeah,
I totally thought you were serious. I was like, what? Wait, what?
It is not Hope Floats.
For those of you that don't know, M. Night is very, very Philly, loud and proud. So it would not surprise me at all if the
first movie was at the Ritz 5. Yes.
And did he make
Wide Awake? Wide Awake is the name of that movie.
So you go from Wide Awake to 6 cents. Jesus, that's That's quite a jump.
I mean, look, you do what you got to do.
I will. So Teebs rated this really high. So did Vince. I kind of went middle of the road because it's not my favorite M. Night film. My favorite M. Night film is Unbreakable.
Don't say it. Okay, fine.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Avatar.
I thought you were going to say Signs.
No, hell no. Hell no.
How dare you,
Hell
sir? I love
no.
Signs.
Hell no. It's Unbreakable.
That's
That's personally
have to
mine.
talk about Signs one of these days. It's not okay.
No, we don't. We do not. I saw that sign and it did not open up my mind. That's for damn sure.
Wow, base references, topical.
All right, jerk face. Teebs, you gave perfect 10s for story and screenplay.
Yeah, I think the screenplay is great. I think the story is great.
I mean, I also gave it a perfect 10 for screenplay, but you
don't know what the twist is, the first time you find out, you get punched in the face.
Yep.
It's like, holy shit.
M. Night has had an interesting career since then. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Vince, would you say he's had more misses than hits?
I wouldn't even say misses. He's had more.
Yeah.
They're not exactly misses because
he's like.
Here's the thing: it's so formulaic that if the other movies if his other superior works didn't exist, those movies would be the hit, would be the breakout. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Like if Sixth Sense didn't exist, The Village would have been the breakout. You know, it's just once he is kind of a one-trick pony once you figure out where he's at.
Yeah.
And then what I don't like about his later works is you're actively looking for the twist.
That's the problem.
Whereas in The Sixth Sense, like Atiba said, if you've never seen it and especially if you're not familiar with his works, that twist hits you in the face. You're like, oh, shit. Especially how they piece it together. It was like Usual Suspects level, where you're like, oh damn,
And even if you do know the secret, even if you do know what's behind it, it's still got a ton of replayability just because of the Haley Joel Osment performance and the
fantastic.
Who plays the mom in that? It's not Toni Collette. It is Toni Collette.
It's Toni Collette. Yeah.
Toni Collette's great. Bruce Willis is great. This is a movie that hinges on you believing every single one of these characters, and you do. And the movie doesn't work unless they make it work. And again,
I would say it's one of Bruce Willis's most earnest performances.
I do
agree with that.
You know what I mean? It's a movie like I say it about Tom Cruise in The Last Samurai. You forget you're watching Bruce Willis. You're invested in the character.
That's the thing. That's the thing about M. Night. I hate to do the Jock reference, but like he's a leadoff hitter. He'll get you solid singles, and then every once in a while he'll knock one out of the park, and you're just like, holy shit! Okay, we're now in top 3 territory, gentlemen.
Oh boy, here we go.
Number three in the scoring list. 3 is The Matrix.
We fucked up.
I think we did. We may have fucked up when I announced what number 2 was or is. What can we say about The Matrix that hasn't already been said on this podcast?
Listen, nobody can tell you what The Matrix is. You just have to find out for yourself.
Yep.
Okay. Well, couple things.
Like I said before, there are 2 movies in this list that changed the way movies were made after, and this is the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Matrix changed entirely the way films were made. It invented new filmmaking technologies. It invented and a different
bullet time. There you
go. Man.
What more can you say as far as style goes? As far as being just an iconic piece of cinema, you don't get any more iconic than The Matrix. And let me tell you, when I went to so tell you a little story about The Matrix. I went to see this in the theater at the Sam Eric in downtown Philadelphia. Now, it's hard for me to really explain to you what the Sam Eric is, but a friend of mine once referred to it as the home of participatory theater in San Diego, in Philadelphia. People would come in the middle, they'd light up joints and just start smoking them in the theater.
He's not kidding, Vince. Vince, he's not kidding.
I'm not kidding. And like literally nobody's paying attention to what's going on the screen. We went to see it there. They were invested. People were like, "What the like?" This movie is so good. It made the crowd at the Sam Eric watch the fucking movie. That's an incredible achievement.
Like literally watch the movie.
I remember I was working at the video library when this movie came out. I remember getting a phone call or text message from Teebs, and it just says, "The Matrix, go fucking see it." And when you get that text message from Teebs, you're just like, "Well, shit, I guess I'm going to an 11:45 show of The Matrix tonight." So I did that, and then I walked out of the theater, and I was just like, my brain could not fucking comprehend what just got absorbed into it. I was just like, holy shit. And the way it ended, I was just like, please tell me they're making a sequel. Please tell me they're doing a sequel. And they did 2 sequels. One that's okay, then another one which is maligned. We'll just leave it at that.
I think the sequels do kind of tarnish the legacy a little bit, because if they didn't exist, people would be like, The Matrix is dope. It's the dopest thing ever. But really,
I would just like to point out that all three of us, 10s for cultural impact across the board.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
10s for all.
If I had probably one of the cooler experiences coming into this movie, because this came out again when I was in Spain.
You mean Teebs' story about joints getting lit? That
ain't tops. No, I'm just playing. But well, from the perspective of, people forget the marketing for this and the tie-ins for this, as far as online, where they had their website that had animated stories and stories. That had all this stuff about. It made it a whole all-encompassing, where you start questioning your own reality. But also, when we came into this movie, I was in Spain. I saw it on base. The only reason we even gave this movie a chance is because of the movie poster, that the image that's on our spreadsheet. We're like, he's in a trench coat with a gun. Cool. Like, what's this about? And I will tell you this in all honesty. Up until his mouth disappeared, we were kind of bored. And then his mouth went away, and then we sat up and were like, okay, what the fuck just happened? And then from then on, because I would say it was like the long ascent on a roller coaster ride, and it peaked at his mouth disappearing, and then it just dropped, and we're just like, arms up, I'm all in. And I don't enjoy them as much as the original, obviously, but I do enjoy the sequels. But I do feel like they're a victim of. It's kind of like how Lucas was with the prequels. Nobody was telling him no. They were a victim of not being edited. If you get what I'm saying, they were drinking their own Kool-Aid a little too much, and they needed somebody to look from the outside looking and say, "You're taking a little too far."
Yeah, but I think that is also the strength of the sequels too. It's because, like, if you got somebody to tell you no, you don't make the most expensive and like hellacious car chase scene of all time.
Okay, this is true. So
you don't say, I need a scene where squid robots are having a war with giant mechs.
So
you probably don't get to do that.
So speaking of squid robots, I will do a nerd plug here. If for anybody that's a fan of The Matrix, you need to watch it's got a cult following, an anime called Megazone 2-3, specifically Megazone 2-3 Parts 1 and Parts 2, because they're the strongest ones. I think there's 4, but they came out in the mid 80s, early 80s during the original animated video boom in Japan. They heavily inspire the concept and the world of The Matrix.
Look for more old man anime pics from Vinny.
And these are, if you have Amazon Prime, you can stream them for free on Amazon Prime.
Shout out to The Matrix for the revolution in, action technology with bullet time, and then also just Keanu.
Thanks for bringing back Keanu.
Oh my god! Like,
some of the most badass action scenes in cinema history. Like, legit.
Keanu parlayed the Matrix into John Wick, into being Shadow the Hedgehog, just like Keanu. Thumbs up, Keanu.
All right. We
Thumbs
don't
up,
need.
Keanu.
This
Great
is
work by you.
not a podcast where we support any hedgehoggery.
I'm just saying. Keanu has both The Matrix and John Wick, those franchises under his belt. They're in his roster, okay? Keanu, you're fine. Just, you don't need to do anything else. Sit on those riches, my man. That's all you gotta do.
Absolutely.
All right. Here's number 2, and this is where somebody is probably gonna have to say, yeah, we may have fucked up a little bit, because number 2, thanks to a 72 out of 80 score from Vince, number 2 is Galaxy Quest.
So
no, I'm fine with that.
That's fine. Galaxy Quest is a phenomenal film. Although the only problem is, Vince, since you rated this so high, I would just ask you, if you were not familiar with Star Trek or Star Trek fandom, would you have rated this as highly?
That's a good question. Really?
Star Trek fans are quick to claim it, but if you look at it through a lens, because I will tell you this, honestly, I'm not the number one Star Trek fan. My Star Trek experience is TNG, which this definitely does not lean heavily on. This is the original. This is the original series, very Captain Kirk. To me, below the surface, it is a love letter to nerds and fandom in general.
Okay.
I see that.
I see that.
And that's why I ranked it so high, because the Matrix. How do I say this? This is a movie for nerds that don't feel like they have a community. This is a movie that came out before Comic-Con was like a huge thing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is a movie where it really does. I mean, just through Justin Long's character, and from Tim Allen embracing his character and people's love of his character. It really is a love letter to that kind of fandom, and saying it's okay to be that nerd.
I was just like,
that's true.
There was a whole documentary called Trekkies in '97, and I feel like Galaxy Quest kind of like just made a fiction about like that idea, just like the culture of fandom.
Honestly, though, is that movie the start of fan culture as we understand it today?
No, I don't think so. I think, to be honest, Trekkies is kind of like is a double-edged sword, because it celebrates it and at the same time kind of mocks it.
It does mock it, but for the people that had never been to a convention and never had a convention experience.
Yeah, right. Because you got to remember, this is '97.
Right. Did it provide that, there's other people out there that are weird like me thing that you get when you go to a convention?
Kind of. The Galaxy Quest documentary does that even better. And I don't think that one gets as much shine. And if you watch the Captain's documentary that William Shatner helped put together, that explains Tim Allen's journey in this movie. I mean, I was fortunate enough to see Shatner's stage performance years ago, where he basically told his life story. And like everything from like how he got started in theater, to getting the role of Captain Kirk, to hating the role of Captain Kirk, to being broke in his truck because he couldn't get a job, to finally realizing that being adored as this character was a good thing.
That's you see that whole thing play out in Tim Allen's character. Like by the time he's in this film, he's just like really tired of being the captain of that series. Just like I'm done. I want to do other things, but all these nerds won't let me. It's like I want to do serious stuff. I want to do like Man on the Moon type stuff, but I can't because I'm typecast. I'm locked into this thing. All right, it should go as no surprise what is top marks on this list.
I can't believe this is number one, honestly. I didn't think that this would be number one. I didn't. I honestly didn't.
65 from Teebs, 62 from Vince, 70 for me. Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace. That's number one on our scoring list here. For me, I'll start by saying this. I happen to love the prequel series. And we kind of touched up on this in previous podcasts. Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, that was a Star Wars film. Those were Star Wars films for that generation. Phantom Menace, Clone Wars, Revenge of the Sith. People can say what they want about them, but I feel like these are my Star Wars films. These are the movies that I went to the theater to see. I wasn't around for the originals. I went to the theater for all three of the prequel movies. I went to the theater for all three of the sequel movies. Episode 1, 2, and 3, these are my Star Wars movies. So to me, episode 1 will always hold a really big part of my Star Wars fandom because I actually got to go to the theater and experience it like how my dad must have in 1977.
Mm-hmm.
It's how like fathers took their kids to this movie and just like, all right, this is how Star Wars looked when I was a kid. Now this is your Star Wars film. And then kids that started with episode 7, that's the movie that they have. That's their entry point.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why I rated it super high for cultural impact, because that's what it meant to me at that time. The production design, the costumes, makeup, absolutely flawless, like you would think in a Star Wars movie. The acting choices, like, honestly, was anybody really out here thinking Ewan McGregor would make this work as Obi-Wan Kenobi? Nobody really thought it was, but I thought it was fantastic. I was reading stuff where people weren't sure about Ewan McGregor, but like he's out here. And even with the music, yes, it's John Williams. Yes, you've heard all this shit before, like his orchestra and all like that. But
wait a second.
You still have to respect John Williams, and I even have to give the music high marks because it's John fucking Williams. Respect John Williams.
Okay, So I gave this movie 10s in cinematography, production design, costumes, and music.
You have a little bit more respect for John Williams than I do.
Okay. I think I'm going to get flamed here, but I think this is the best score of any Star Wars movie.
You are not
Phantom
wrong.
Menace.
You are not wrong. Listen, if you come at Teebs, you're coming at me, because I agree.
You can put Imperial March up against Duel of the Fates, and Duel of the Fates is a bop. I'm sorry. It just
is.
As the kids say. The Imperial March, yes, it conveys that message of fascism and militarism. Duel of the Fates is fucking opera, bro. It's a whole fucking story within itself.
Thing.
It's
got everything.
But so yes. So there are a couple things about Star Wars 1. A couple things that are unassailable. And that is anything to do with any of the art behind this movie. And that is what I love about this. It's because you've got people, super highly talented artists, that this is their dream project. And It's you can see that on the screen. Like, literally, the most incredible artwork you've ever seen, just hitting you in the face over and over and over, and I can't even catch my breath. Wait a minute, the underwater city is dope, and now the palace is dope, and this is the queen's makeup. Are you kidding me? What is even happening in this movie? I don't even know. The spaceships look like squids in the sky. I don't even understand it.
Steve, we know what it is, right? It's George.
It's not just George Lucas giving free reign. It's George Lucas going into a room of like 250 of the most talented artists in the world and saying, "Hey, dudes, do something. Give me something."
It's literally in the special features. If you watch the making of Phantom Menace, it's everything that Teebs just said about the artist. He was like, make some dope shit, and they did.
Vince just walked into a room at that time in, I guess, 97, 98 when he was developing this. He was just like, listen, just take swings. Just make some shit. No idea is a bad idea, okay? That's essentially what he did.
Yes. Now, I love Star Wars like a fat kid loves cake. Like, I love all the good, the bad. And I agree with you. It's every trilogy is of its generation. Like, people that grew up on the original trilogy hated on the prequels because there's so many holes, blah blah blah. And same with the current sequels. But this movie, let me tell you, back in the day, when dial-up
Back
was
in the
a
day,
thing,
25 years ago, Jesus.
oh my god, yes, so holy shit. But my roommate and I spent 5 hours downloading this trailer on Winamp because we were in
Oh,
Spain.
right. The
We were in
trailer.
Spain, so we didn't have American movie
Winamp.
on Winamp. The window was literally this big on the computer, and we
Oh my
watched
God.
that shit for half an hour straight. Look at the double lightsabers. What's that? He's
People
yelling, "Do
lost
it
their
no!"
shit.
We were losing our shit just on the trailer alone because of the drought of Star Wars content from when I was a kid to when I was an adult. This was an event. Plot holes and story problems aside, I agree with you too. But it's like, turn all that shit off. Just go along for the ride. It's a fun. If you take Star Wars out of it, it's a fun sci-fi movie. Period. It's a beautifully shot,
Even that.
well done, fun romp in a sci-fi world.
The thing that's amazing. Hold on, just a second. The thing that's amazing about Episode 1 is you have the original trilogy, and Episode 1 it opens up the world even further from there. It's like you
get to see the Jedi that are legendary at their peak, which was the whole point of that. You know what I mean?
You're already in one of the most imaginative worlds ever created, and then it expands even further. It's like, I can't, bro. Like, what are we? That's why the sequel. That's why when the sequels want to take everything and shrink it back down, it's like, why, bro?
But it makes sense in the continuity of how the story's going. And here's the biggest strength, though, and I will say this, and it'll be my final point because I could talk about this forever. But the prequels, for people and kids not of our generation because we're old as fuck, but the prequels and the sequels, if you look them in their own boxes, are great entry points to the Star Wars universe.
Yes.
You don't need to know the original trilogy to enjoy the prequels. Those can stand on their own. Same with the sequels. They allude to Luke Skywalker and all his adventures the way Obi-Wan alluded to the Clone Wars, and it worked fine. And so, and for all the haters that are like, "Oh, this killed the franchise." Last time I checked, dude, this train is still chugging along. It's just
multi-billion-dollar industry.
Thank you. So just get out of your head and just enjoy the ride. Not all of it's going to be great. Some of it's going to suck. But as a whole, I think it's all fun and it's all love.
I'm glad you brought that up, Vince, and we'll end Star Wars on this point. Like, when it comes to Star Wars specifically, when it comes to the MCU specifically, we've gotten to a point where people don't go to movies to just fucking enjoy them. People go wanting to find all the holes, the nooks, the crannies. That's what people are going to the movies for, and it's fucking stupid.
Yeah, just enjoy a film.
If you want to waste $20 damn of your money just to see a movie, just so you can say what was wrong with it on the internet, like, why are you gonna throw $20 away like that? Like, why? What is the point? I don't get it. I will
it's
never
what
understand it.
yeah, because we all love Kevin Smith. It's what he said specifically after his heart attack, how he realized he spent so much time telling people about how much he hated things when he could have been spending that energy on telling people about what he loved about these, certain movies. Like, why
Exactly.
are we wasting all that energy on hating on stuff when we could
Exactly.
just spread the love on what we love?
So on that note,
Let's spread some love on some future podcasts for 2025.
we're gonna spreading love in 2025. That's what we're gonna be about.
Because Lord knows
Wait a
we're gonna
minute, that
need it.
sounds a little bit weird. That sounds weird.
Hey, you said it, not me. This has been the Teebs and KidPhoenix podcast. Happy New Year, everybody. Of course, we'll be back. Like, follow, subscribe to the podcast. Links, descriptions, they're all in the YouTubes if you're watching us on YouTube, or in the description wherever you listen to podcasts. Vince's links will be in there as well. Egg Drop Ramen Studios. We'll throw all of his links in there as well if you want to check out his artwork. Hey, maybe get a commission in 6 months when we reconvene for Comic-Con. So all of that, we will continue. We're just going to keep chugging along on this train.
Chugga.
I am KidPhoenix. That is the podcast for this week. We are going to get out of here. Until next time, Vince, thanks for coming on. Very much appreciated. Can't wait to see you again.
Thank you very much, Vince.